Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Lady Khadija College, radiallahu anha. May God be pleased with her. Welcome to A-Level Maths Year 1, and it's pure maths for the Edexcel UK A-Level syllabus, also covering the international A-Level syllabus. Let's begin our lesson today, which is factorizing. So this is really revision from GCSE and IGCSE. So we're factorizing into single brackets. So in the first example, we have to factorize 3y plus 9. Factorizing means to find a factor. So you're looking at the 3y, you're looking at the 9. In particular, you're looking at the numbers in this case and trying to think, what's a common factor? What's a factor that goes into 3 and 9? And you think, okay, 3 is a common factor. So now you think, okay, well, if 3 is a factor, it must mean that I can times something by 3 to get back to the 3y. So 3 times y would be 3 times y would be the 3y. And then you do a similar thing for the next one. So you're thinking 3 is a factor of 9. 3 times what gives me 9, and that would be 3. You can check by expanding out. 3 times y is 3y. And 3 times the 3 is 9. So that gives you back what you started with. That's a good way of checking. Let's move on to a slightly harder example. So this y is y squared minus 5y. So again, looking for a common factor. Factorizing means look for a common factor. What's a factor of y squared and a factor of 5y squared? Here we were looking at the numbers, the 3 and the 9. Here we don't really have numbers to look at, so we're looking at what's common between the y squared, and let me just correct that, that's just minus 5y. So what's in common? What's the common factor? You can see clearly that they both have y as the common factor. So if we just take y as the common factor, then we're thinking same thing as before. If it's a common factor, then it must times something to get back to y squared. So that would be y times y. And then on the minus 5y, y times something to make minus 5y, that must be minus 5. So that's, again, we can expand y times y is y squared, and y times minus 5 is minus 5y to get back to, just to check we've got the answer right. Okay, so those two were quite easy warm-up questions. Let's take another one that's not too hard. 8y squared plus 20y. This is using both techniques that you've just used how to look at before. So let's look at the numbers first. We're looking at 8, we're looking at 20, we're factorizing. So we're thinking, can I find a factor of the 8 and the 20? And the answer is yes, 4 would be a factor. But don't stop there. Look at now the letters. Is there a common factor? Is there a factor of y squared and y? And the answer would be yes, there is. That's y. So 4y is the common factor. And then what do I need to times the 4y by to get 8y squared? 4 times 2 would make the 8. 4y times 2y would make the 8y squared. If you're not sure of that, the other way of doing it is just write the 8y squared in a very, very long fashion. I wouldn't recommend doing this except if you're learning for the first time. So you know 4y is the common factor. So we can write this as 4 times 2 times y times y. So that's just another way of writing 8y squared, but using 4 as the common factor. So now you take a look at what you've got on the outside of the bracket. You've got 4, which is here, so we can tick that off. We've got y, which is here, so we can tick that off. So what are we left with? 2y. So that must mean the remaining part is 2y. Do a similar thing with the 20y. We're thinking 4y times something to make 20y, and that would just be 5. Okay, expand out to check, everything's good. 4y times 2y is 8y squared. And then 4y times the 5 would be 20y. me just try and get that squared written in a way that makes it look as if it's actually 8y squared. Okay, fantastic, good. So we'll do a couple of harder ones probably tomorrow, but just starting off really simply today, let's take another look at the one we've just done. We've got 8y squared plus 20y. We're trying to see a common factor, and we can spot the numbers from 8 and 20. The common factor is 4. Looking at the letters, we can see that y would be the common factor. And then it's just a question of, okay, what do I times the 4y to get each bit? 4y times 2y would be the thing I need to make it 8y squared, and 4y times 5 would make the 20y. You can always check your answer by just expanding out. Okay, join me for more factorizing in the next lesson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be with you and the mercy and blessings of God.